Well guys, welcome back at ImWateringPSUs, and here we are with a high-end build, which however is not a gaming build. It's going to be an editing and productivity focused build. Now, component choice is probably what I actually recommend if you want to build a high-end editing PC. I want to make this video kind of like a guide, while also taking a look at a few new products that just came out. Editing and productivity means you need a lot of cores. So we have here the Ryzen 9 7900X, 12 cores, 24 threads. Of course, if we were to do the same high-end build, but for gaming, you would simply swap this out for a 7800X3D. I just made a video on why the 7900X3D is not a good CPU, and it is not a good CPU, the 7900X3D either. So you can either get the 7800X3D for gaming, or get this, or the 7950X for productivity. Now, we are getting closer to the launch of new AMD 9000 series processor, but it was just delayed, so it's actually not bad to make this build right now. Now, we are pairing this with an Asus Prime X670p motherboard. Generally, I recommend to everybody to go ahead and buy a B650. There is no point in buying an X670, they're just overpriced, the overclocking potential is the same, unless you want to use one of these. So this is a Teamgroup Z540 Gen5 drive. So if you've seen my personal build, as well as the other Silence build I did with Gen 5 drives, you will know that these are a must in an editing build. We are talking double the speed of a Gen 4 drive, and now Teamgroup is making one as well. And I think it's gonna be really good. Matter of fact, I've already tested it and it is insanely good. So since we went with Teamgroup drive, we also got Teamgroup RAM, and editing build means you're gonna need a bit more RAM. So we got 48 gigs of RAM, 6400 MHz in white, because the whole build is going to be white since we have a silver motherboard. We then got a white case, the LC Power Gaming 715W. LC Power is a very underrated German brand. I don't know why they're not selling more cases, honestly, because like I covered recently the very unique case with the half tempered glass, half mesh, and that was crazy cool. And this one is a more standard aquarium-like case, which however I think comes in at a very good price because it's cheaper than most known brand, and delivers. It has 4 included RGB fans and it looks nice. And it has space on top for a 360ml all-in-one water cooler, which is what we're going to be putting in, and we chose the best cooler on the market, the Arctic Liquid Freezer Free 360 ARGB in white. I have reviewed this cooler already. I haven't made a dedicated video, but pretty much to sum it up, this is the best cooler on the market. You shouldn't buy anything else, in my opinion. It looks nice and the performance is crazy. Noctua just released a $150 air cooler, which everybody is talking about, and I'm not going to talk about it because I think it's not a good buy. I think you should buy this. Best cooler out there. We then got LC power supply, sleeved flat white cables. It has now been refreshed because, you know, Gen 5 ATX 3.0, so now it comes out of the box with a cable for this in flat white sleeved, which is going to be really cool. And I've covered this in my wooden PC build, and it's just an insanely good unit. These are the components. I was nearly forgetting about the actual graphics card of the build, which is the RTX 4080 Super. I bought this because the 4090 is useless. I made a full video about why it's useless. People are kind of getting mad for the video, but really, 4090 is a bad buy. You should buy this. And it's said from a guy who recently built 2 graphene cooled 4090s. So trust me, if I say it's useless, I know what I'm talking about. And also, I know what you're gonna be saying, but PNY is not a good brand. No, it's a good brand, guys. I made a video about that as well. I can't link them all up here, but they're on the channel, just take a look. This is a very good card, spoiler. But yeah, let's build the PC. I still think that all this box is useless just for a CPU, but anyway. So guys, I just discovered something, so a little tip while doing the build. You know, people line up the triangle usually, right? So you take a triangle on the CPU, triangle on the motherboard, line it up. But really, you can just look at the AMD Ryzen writing on the socket. And if the AMD Ryzen writing aligns with the CPU, it can only be straight. Now the crazy part is that this thing right here costs basically like my CPU. And also something cool that they're doing is that you're not obligated to put on the sticker. So in my case, since you're putting this on a heatsink, you can just leave the sticker out. Guys, if you don't peel this off on a Gen 5 drive, you're gonna just break the drive in like a week. No! I like the toolless design. It's always so nice to open up an Arctic cooler. And the best part, I know I say it every time, but it comes pre-assembled, like the way I want to mount it. Thank you. Because like, let's be honest, who puts an all-in-one in intake? It's always outtake, so it's just smart to have it pre-assembled. And also, boy, if it's stunning. This is just for Intel, and it's the retention bracket, basically makes the Intel CPU more even. I don't know if you follow the issue with those, but super useful. By the way, to connect the cooler to the motherboard, Arctic gives you two options. So you can either have like a separation for the VRMs, the pump and the fan, or just trust Arctic, which is what I like to do, and use a single cable which goes into the CPU fan. Guys, I was nearly forgetting, this is the most done mistake PC building industry. Okay, so at this point the PC is basically ready, so I say we get the case and put everything inside. It does really look clean. I would say better than I was expecting, but I had high expectations for this thing. Let's see without the panel. Okay, so it comes with 4 pre-installed fans, which is nice. Very unique design for the PSU shroud, leaving more space open for the fan, which is what also allows this case to be this compact while still packing the ability for a double 360 meters all-in-one water cooler. And actually, you can also fit a 140 on top, which is crazy. Like you could put an Arctic 140 mil on top, which would be very nice. I really want to do a build with the new Arctic 140, by the way. But let's take a look at the back. Okay, so included RGB controller. Yes, you can also attach it to whatever you want, and pretty good cabling. Also, rubber grommets are pretty premium. I'm liking it so far. Let's put the motherboard in. Power supply time. Packaging is always very premium with LC Power. Take a look at this. Fully modular cables, sleeved, fully sleeved singularly, and they even give you white power cable. Guys, pretty much no power supply brand gives you this stuff out of the box. Crazy good quality. Okay, so with the motherboard slotted in and all the cables routed, it's time to open up this beauty, okay? Which, by the way, is the only card you should get for the 1700X. Check this one out, it's basically bigger than the box itself. Massive card, guys. But first, let's see what else we have in the box. So we have a GPU anti-sag bracket, an adapter, which we will not need, and a quick install guide. And that's about it. Let's open up the card. Look at it. By the way, if you think PNY is not a good brand, I made a full video about it. They are actually a very good company. They're an American company, actually. GPU slot in time. I also think I've done a good job with the cable management and the PC is ready, so let's turn it on. Okay, so quick diagnostic, and it was actually the LED controller on the back, so now we'll try if we manage to fix it and come back. Okay, so it's looking stunning already, and this was broken. Here's the fun part. It's now running with no controller because all the fans are daisy chainable. So like, this is actually useless. So anyways, let me test some games, guys, I'm tired. And here we are with the build finished and benchmarked, and finally with the RGB running, and most importantly starting up. So it was a faulty RGB controller blocking the startup. Those things, like if there is any kind of short circuit, a good power supply will prevent the PC from booting, which is what the LC1000MW from LC Power was doing. First impressions on the power supply is it's absolutely great. The PC just runs well, doesn't draw much power, and the cables, sleeved cables, look stunning. There are not many power supplies coming with out-of-the-box sleeved cables. Even Corsair back in the day, they were just selling extra kits of sleeved cables. And since the PSU is also visible from the back of the case, the fact that it's white make it even better. Now, since we mentioned the RGB, I just want to spend a few words on the aesthetics, which I think looks absolutely stunning. LC Power is putting some really cool fans in this case, and they also have a tiny infinity mirror on the spinning part, which really makes them look nice. I think the Teamgroup RAM ties in well with the cooler from Arctic and with the fans from Arctic. It all looks nice. Again, even though we removed the RGB controller, it was all daisy chainable, so we didn't have to add any kind of cable, and it all connects to the motherboard via a single 3-pin ARGB connector. So I'm really happy about it. And aesthetically, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. Would have been 10 with a white GPU, but unfortunately, we got a black GPU, so we have to deal with it. But the PNY looks nice. So with that said, let's talk about the performance a bit. Now, first off, synthetic benchmarks. So let's open up with Crystal Disk Mark, because I tested the SSD speed and it's actually more than they advertised for. So 12,450 as top speed. Absolutely insane from this drive, and the temperature is also pretty controlled with the integrated heatsink on the motherboard. So you don't actually need dedicated heatsink for the SSD, which I also think shows good thermal design on the SSD itself. Now, CPU Z-score and overall system specs, everything is running really good. Again, 800 points in single thread is absolutely insane. So what you can expect from a CPU with 12 cores, the multi-thread, right? It's super high. It also runs pretty cool. Now, we have this just slightly tweaked. We just did a nice core optimizer as I show on the channel. Again, check out my undervolting tutorial for the Ryzen 9 1700X in case you want to tweak it. And also I have some for CPUs and GPUs of other brands. So it runs pretty quiet, but again, this Arctic cooler to run just at 85 degrees the CPU, it is completely inaudible. You cannot hear it while it's running under full load. Absolutely crazy, but again, I do think the Liquid Freezer 3 is the best cooler on the market. I don't understand how they're still selling other coolers. That's my opinion. And even under Prime 95 small FFT, it is running great. Speaking about the GPU a bit more, we run a Firestrike and the system score is very good. And it does all that while being pretty much fully quiet. You can see the hardware monitor results, and the GPU basically seems like it wasn't running at all. The case also has very good ventilation because all the results were taken with the side panel closed. GPU was not tweaked for this video. Let's move on to the gaming benchmarks, even though this is not intended to be a gaming PC. This PC maxes out Apex Legends at 1440p on low settings, doing 300 FPS. Now, what happens if we put the settings too high? Still 300 FPS. So this is a bottleneck to you guys. I don't know what to call it. You should play probably Apex at 4K with this PC. So if you have a 4K 144Hz monitor, you can play Apex on it. Fortnite, it is even less demanding than Apex. You're pushing basically 360 Hz at 1440p. So really, for esports and just competitive titles in general, this PC is more of a 4K gaming PC than anything else. But if you're playing Warzone, things changes a bit. So in Warzone, we are seeing around 200 FPS in the most demanding zone, 200. So 200 basically is like the 1% lows, not 0.1. The average FPS, we are not really doing 240 stable, but it's around 240. So still pretty good for 1440p high refresh rate gaming. And it will also run all the latest games, even on Unreal Engine 5 at 1440p and even 4K. Like I run Cyberpunk 4K on a 4080 Super absolutely fine, but again, it's what you can expect from any 4080 Super out there. It's not that interesting to cover this part of the benchmarks, in my opinion. So I think it's nice to cut to the conclusions and talk a bit about the editing capabilities of this thing. Now, 4080 Super, yes, it doesn't have as much VRAM as a 4090, but it is a very capable card with dual encoder for video editing. So it is absolutely a beast. You can stream on this thing while gaming on it. And remember when I was talking about all the extra headroom this PC has? Well, if you're streaming, you're gonna need that, because unless you wanna have a dedicated streaming PC, streaming is actually gonna draw a bit of your resources away. And so you want a PC that can do more than you need. and also being able to do a bit more, it will never stutter. So all in all, I think the build came out absolutely amazing. This kind of confirmed my opinion on PNY, which I think is a good brand. And LC Power, I just think they're doing better and better, and they deserve more recognition, to be honest. Arctic has conquered the market, so they probably don't need any more recognition, but they are making great products. And the Teamgroup, really fast SSD, great looking RAM, 40 ticks is nice for video editing. Honestly, I'm really happy. But if there is something that you don't like, I'd actually like to hear it. So maybe drop a comment and let me know what I did wrong. I'd really appreciate that. Or if you think I did nothing wrong, maybe drop a like and a sub to support the channel and allow me to do more of these. I really hope to see you guys again if you want to stick around on the channel. Bye bye.